Since eternity, even before the rise of kingdoms and the march of empires, the eternal God was already outlining the history of humanity. When faith is tested by suffering, when kings exalt themselves above the Most High and human pride threatens the truth, God raises up witnesses, and from the midst of defeat a voice rises, a steadfast faith, a servant who stands firm before kings. For the kingdoms of men are fleeting like dust, but the kingdom of God is eternal and shall never be destroyed. Jerusalem burns in flames. The sky is covered with dark clouds, as if the very heavens were mourning the scene. Amidst the screams, the clash of swords, and the crumbling of walls, the Babylonian army advances relentlessly. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, watches the conquest of the sacred city with eyes devoid of mercy. His advisors record names and riches, ordering the selection of the most promising young men. 4 teenagers are taken from the rubble: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Their clothes are dusty, but their eyes remain steady. They are taken to a foreign land, where their names, culture, and faith will be challenged. In the heart of Babylon, the palace gates open like the mouth of a ravenous beast. There, under the supervision of Ashpenaz, chief of the king's officials, the young men receive new names. Daniel becomes Belteshazzar, Hananiah is called Shadrach, Mishael is renamed Meshach, and Azariah receives the name Abednego. In the training hall, they are served fine delicacies, succulent meats, and aromatic wines. Daniel, however, looks upon everything with suspicion. He realizes it is not merely about food, but about consecration, for the food and drink had been offered to the Babylonian gods. With courage, he addresses Ashpenaz. "Please do not make me defile myself with the king's food and wine." Ashpenaz hesitates, for he favors Daniel but fears the wrath of Nebuchadnezzar. Daniel insists, proposing a test. "Try your servants for 10 days. Give us only vegetables to eat and water to drink. Then compare our appearance with that of the other young men." The proposal is accepted. 10 days pass, and Daniel and his friends appear healthier and more vigorous than all the others. Impressed, Ashpenaz allows them to continue their diet. As the days go by, the God of Israel honors the young men's faithfulness. They excel in knowledge, literature, and wisdom. To Daniel especially, an extraordinary gift is given: the ability to interpret visions and dreams. At the end of the 3 years of training, the young men are brought before King Nebuchadnezzar. The throne room is grand, adorned with gold and opulence. The king examines them closely, asks questions, and tests their reasoning. At the end of the audience, he rises and declares, "In all my court, there is no one like these 4. They are appointed to important positions, and Daniel gains the king's direct attention. But peace is short-lived. Unease grips the throne of Babylon. One night, Nebuchadnezzar wakes up with a sweaty face and a racing heart. He tries to recall the dream that slips away like mist, leaving behind a disturbing sense of foreboding. He summons the magicians, enchanters, and astrologers. "I had a dream that deeply troubles me. I want to know what I dreamed and what it means." The wise men look at each other confused. "Tell us the dream, O king, and we will interpret it." But Nebuchadnezzar roars, "I refuse. You must tell me the dream and its interpretation. If you fail, you will be torn limb from limb, and your houses will be turned into rubble." Fear spreads like wildfire. No man can read another's mind. No sage dares to speak. The king, enraged, orders the execution of all the wise men of Babylon. Upon hearing the decree, Daniel seeks out Arioch, captain of the guard in charge of the executions. He questions the urgency of the king's order. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Daniel requests time from the king. He withdraws with his friends, and together they do what is customary for them. They pray on their knees, crying out to the God of heaven. O God of my ancestors, I praise and thank you, for you have given me wisdom and power. You have revealed to me what we asked of you. You have revealed the king's dream. That night, Daniel has a vision. The mystery is unveiled. The next day, he presents himself to Arioch. Do not execute the wise men of Babylon. Take me to the king, and I will interpret the dream. Destiny awaits him in the throne room. With firm steps and a determined gaze, Daniel approaches Nebuchadnezzar as the crowd watches in silence. Before the king, Daniel seeks no glory for himself. No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain this mystery. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. And in that solemn moment, the young Hebrew begins to reveal the contents of the dream the king had forgotten. An enormous statue with a head of gold, chest of silver, belly of bronze, legs of iron and feet of iron and clay. The king holds his breath in anticipation. Daniel continues, You, O king, are the head of gold. After you will arise an inferior kingdom, then a third one of bronze, and a fourth kingdom, strong as iron. In the end, a kingdom shall arise that God himself will establish, an eternal kingdom that shall never be destroyed. Nebuchadnezzar's throne trembles at the grandeur of the revelation. The king bows before Daniel in awe. Surely your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings. Daniel is promoted, and his friends receive high positions in the province. The name of the God of Israel begins to echo through the walls of Babylon, but in the king's heart, a transformation begins. Pride grows, and soon a new trial approaches. The days pass, and the golden glow of the Babylonian throne reflects Nebuchadnezzar's growing vanity. Still impressed by the dream's revelation, the king considers himself the center of all power. Despite the prophetic warning that other kingdoms would follow his, Nebuchadnezzar decides to rewrite his own destiny. He orders the construction of a colossal statue, 27 meters tall, entirely made of gold from head to toe, a direct affront to the vision he had received. The statue is erected on the plain of Dura as a symbol of his eternal glory. A decree is issued. When you hear the sound of the trumpet, flute, harp, lyre, bagpipes, and all kinds of music, fall down and worship the image King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever refuses will be immediately thrown into a blazing furnace. The crowd bows, musicians play, men and women kneel like waves before a storm. But three figures remain standing amid the prostrate masses. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego defy the royal decree. The news quickly reaches the palace. Jealous advisors inform the king, O king, you decreed that whoever does not bow shall be thrown into the furnace. There are Jews who do not worship your gods, nor the image of gold you set up. Furious, Nebuchadnezzar orders the three young men to be brought before him. His gaze is dark, and he offers them one last chance. Is it true you do not worship my image? If you now bow, all will be well. But if you do not, you will be immediately thrown into the furnace. And what God will be able to rescue you from my hand? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego reply with courage, O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us. But even if he does not, know this, O king, we will not serve your gods, nor worship the image you have set up. Silence. The throne trembles with rage. The king orders the furnace to be heated 7 times hotter. Strong soldiers tie up the young men. The furnace roars like an insatiable beast. The men who throw them into the fire die from the heat, but the three fall into the flames and do not scream. The king suddenly rises. His eyes widen. He exclaims astonished, Did we not throw 3 men bound into the fire? Yes, O king, they reply. But I see 4 men, unbound, walking in the fire, unharmed, and the 4th looks like a son of the gods. Nebuchadnezzar approaches the furnace and shouts, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here." They come out. Their clothes are not scorched, not a single hair is singed, there is no smell of smoke on them. The advisors watch in silent awe. Then the king declares before the entire court, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and rescued his servants. No other God can save in this way." They are promoted to even higher positions, but deep inside, the king remains torn between fear and pride. An inner struggle begins to intensify. One night, while the city sleeps, the king has another dream. This time it is different. He sees a gigantic tree reaching the heavens, visible to the ends of the earth. Its branches feed and shelter all creatures. But a heavenly messenger descends and proclaims, "Cut down the tree, trim its branches, scatter its fruit, but leave the stump with its roots bound with iron and bronze. Let its human mind be taken away, and let a beast's heart be given, until it acknowledges that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of men." The king wakes up troubled and summons Daniel. The atmosphere in the room is tense. Daniel listens in silence, and at the end is stunned. Nebuchadnezzar notices his reaction. "Do not be afraid to tell me, Belteshazzar, what the dream means." Daniel takes a deep breath and replies, "O king, may this dream be for your enemies. The tree is you. You have grown and become strong. Your greatness reaches the heavens, but you will be driven from among men and will live with the animals. You will eat grass like cattle. This will last for 7 periods, until you acknowledge that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of men." The king falls silent, and Daniel with compassion pleads, "O king, accept my advice. Renounce your sins and practice righteousness. Then perhaps your prosperity will be prolonged." But time passes and pride prevails. 12 months later, as he strolls across the rooftop of his palace, Nebuchadnezzar gazes upon the city. "Is this not the great Babylon I have built as the royal residence, by my mighty power and for the glory of my majesty?" Before he can finish the sentence, a voice echoes from the heavens, "O King Nebuchadnezzar, your royal authority has been taken from you." In that very moment, he loses his mind. Driven from the palace, he lives in the fields, eating grass. Like cattle, his body is drenched with dew, his hair grows like eagle feathers, and his nails like the claws of a bird. The glory of the most powerful man on earth is reduced to utter humiliation. After 7 times pass, the king lifts his eyes to the heavens. His sanity returns and he kneels, declaring with a trembling voice, "I praised the Most High. I honored and glorified him who lives forever. His dominion is eternal. He humbles those who walk in pride." Restored to the throne, Nebuchadnezzar finally acknowledges, "There is a God above all the thrones of the earth." But Babylon would not last forever. Soon another king would rise, one who would mock the sacred, and his end would be sealed by an invisible hand. Time moves on. Nebuchadnezzar fades from the historical records. The throne of Babylon now belongs to Belshazzar, grandson of the former king. Unlike his grandfather, who learned to fear the God of heaven, Belshazzar gives himself to debauchery, arrogance, and unrestrained idolatry. Night falls. The palace is filled with music and wine. A lavish banquet is held for 1,000 nobles. Women dance. Pagan priests chant profane songs. The atmosphere is one of intoxication and decay. In the midst of the frenzy, the king has a wicked idea. "Bring the gold and silver goblets taken from the temple of the God of the Hebrews in Jerusalem. Let's drink from them." The sacred relics once consecrated to the God of Israel are now desecrated in a ritual of mockery. Belshazzar raises a goblet. They would host to gods of gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone, laughter, drinking, celebration. But suddenly, the hall falls into a frozen, dead silence. A hand appears, without a body, just glowing, supernatural fingers writing fiery words upon the palace wall before everyone's eyes. Mene, Tekel, Parsin. Panic erupts. The musicians stop. Goblets crash to the floor. Belshazzar turns pale, his legs tremble, his knees knock, he screams, "Call the magicians, the enchanters, the diviners." Whoever can interpret these words will be dressed in purple, receive a gold chain, and be made third ruler in the kingdom. But no one understands the inscription. The mystery paralyzes the court until the Queen Mother, hearing the commotion, enters the hall and speaks with reverence. "O King, do not be troubled. There is a man among us in whom dwells the spirit of the holy gods. In the days of your grandfather Nebuchadnezzar, he revealed dreams and mysteries. His name is Daniel." And Daniel is brought in. Now older, his face bears the marks of wisdom and unwavering strength. But that is a story for another time. If you enjoy mysterious stories from the Bible, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Let's continue the story of Daniel and King Belshazzar.